Hey everybody, Mr. Regan here. Hopefully we feel comfortable with that article that we just read about engineering inventions. Pretty cool stuff. But now we're going to take a step back and we're going to now look at how creating annotations similar to those we saw before with that human body example. And we're going to be using those annotation skills within the article we just read. And we're going to be applying some different ideas to help us go deeper into our reading and our understanding. So let's go ahead and talk about what good annotations look like and what good active reading looks like. So whenever we have good active reading, we have to focus on thinking carefully about what we understand as we read. It's no longer just reading to read, it's thinking about what do we understand. So what does that look like? That means reading things more than once to better understand them. Okay, so going over stuff that maybe we missed before. It means examining those visual representations, those pictures, and making connections with what is said in the text and what is being shown in the picture. And it's identifying things you want to discuss later with others so that you can better understand them. Those three things are key points that we need to focus on as we do active reading. Now, part of diving deeper in that active reading is making good annotations. So annotations is just where we take notes of important information as we read. So things like highlighting challenging words, making note of any questions you have, and noting any connections you have within the reading between you and your personal life. So what we're going to do now is we're going to dive into that amplify reading, and we're going to be focusing on how do we practice those active reading skills when using that article. Okay, so obviously click on the link and make your way into the Energy Inventions link. Once you're there, you should obviously see this screen. And your screen's going to look a little different from mine because I've started to add notes. Now, to add those notes, what you're going to do is you're going to click and drag, okay, and you'll see that blue box show up, and that'll allow you to make a note, okay? So we've said it before, and I'll say it again. Whenever we make these notes, okay, what we're going to be doing is looking for connections, vocab words, and questions we have. So I'm going to put that in there. Okay, so number one is questions we have. This is what we're going to be adding as and note taking as we read through. Okay, the second thing is going to be connections we have with whatever it is we're reading. And the third is important vocab, whether that's things we understand or things we don't understand. So questions we have, connections we have, important vocab. So let's go ahead and give a few examples. So when we read this article, we started with this very first paragraph under the energy inventions, and it starts talking about how many people around the world don't have easy access to that energy. If we didn't know what energy is, obviously we hopefully can click on that vocab and look at it. And they need power, lights, phones, and other electrical devices. They may need to be near an electrical grid, or they may not have electrical wires to bring power from the electrical grid to their homes. So this is a good example of where I highlighted and made a note over here and made a connection showing I wonder how they would e-learn or do this whole e-learning if they didn't have consistent power throughout their lives. So that was a connection that I made with the article. As I kept reading, I said things, we noticed that they may have electrical wires, but the nearest power plant may only provide energy part of the time, leaving people in the dark when it doesn't work. Okay. So when we look at that, you'll notice that I have a question here. Why would a power plant only run for part of the time? Okay, so that would be a question I have that I would want to have answered so I can understand this text and what's going on a little better. Those people may not have much money, so they can't just buy lots of batteries or power their lights. They face an energy problem. They need access to cheap, reliable energy. So this reliable energy vocab word or phrase is something that maybe I want to ask about later. That's a vocabulary word that maybe I want to discuss or maybe dive in so I can understand it better. And that's how you go about making notes within the article that include questions, connections, and important vocab. So it's your job to continue reading now for a second time, again, diving into those deeper reading skills and going through and making those connections, asking those questions, and identifying those important vocab words. We should see multiple of all three as we start this article and all the way to the very end. If you have questions, reach out to me. Otherwise, good luck.